A stark, red number 500 flashed on the screen, bold and unforgiving. It lingered for a moment, a silent judge, before the image shifted. Now a form filled the frame, official-looking, with bold letters stamped across it. "Loan application denied." The words cut through the silence. "Your credit score is 500. Your loan application has been denied." The narrator's voice was flat, devoid of any visible emotion. It wasn't a lament, nor was it an accusation. It was simply a statement of fact, delivered with the cold precision of a machine. A sharp, tearing sound followed, the unmistakable crunch of a shredder devouring paper. The rejected application was gone, reduced to meaningless strips. There was no sigh, no frustrated groan from the narrator, just a quiet, almost imperceptible tightening of the jaw. A flicker in the eyes betrayed a deeper current, a silent defiance that promised something more than defeat. It wasn't over, not by a long shot. But a 500 score isn't a life sentence. It's a launchpad for financial freedom. The words hung in the air, a quiet assertion of power. It wasn't about wishing the past away, but about reshaping the future. The screen changed again, showing a digital display. Numbers began to climb, slowly at first, then picking up speed. 505, 510, 550, 600. The digits blurred, racing upwards, a visual representation of progress. 680, 700, 720, 740. The speed increased, building tension. 745, 748, 749, and then just as it was about to hit 750, it froze. The number hung there, tantalizingly close, a promise yet to be fully realized. Before we dive into how this transformation happened, subscribe to the channel and tell us where you're watching from in the comments. Your engagement helps us share these stories and strategies with more people who need them. This isn't just about numbers on a screen, it's about real changes in real lives. We're going to peel back the layers, looking at the everyday struggles that led to that initial 500, and then, step by painful step, how it was overcome. It's a journey that many have faced, feeling trapped and without options. The stress of constant financial worry, the doors that close in your face, the dreams that seem just out of reach because of a 3-digit number. We'll explore the small, almost invisible choices that chip away at your financial standing and the deliberate actions that can rebuild it stronger than before. This isn't theoretical advice, it's a blueprint built on experience, on understanding the system, and on making it work for you. So get ready to change your perspective on what a credit score truly means for your life and how you can take control of it. We are not just talking about getting a loan, we are talking about unlocking possibilities. This is about more than just credit, it's about empowerment, it's about freedom. The journey from that stark 500 wasn't a sudden leap, but a grind, a slow climb out of a deep hole, dug by years of bad habits and missed opportunities. It began with the quiet truth that something had to change. Life with a 500 credit score wasn't just inconvenient, it was a constant, low-level hum of anxiety, a background track to every decision. Every day felt like walking a tightrope, trying to balance on the edge of financial disaster. The typical routine was a cycle of just barely making it. Payday would hit, and the money would evaporate almost instantly. Rent, utilities, a small grocery run, and then the scramble began. Which bill could be stretched a few extra days? Which one would hit the hardest with late fees? The mail brought not just letters from friends, but a steady stream of overdue notices, collection calls that would light up the phone at inconvenient times. Filling the gas tank felt like a luxury, not a necessity. Eating out was a distant memory. The constant worry about unexpected expenses was the worst part. A flat tire, a sudden illness, a leaky faucet, any of these could send the entire fragile structure crashing down. I remember one time the car needed a new alternator. It wasn't an option. I needed that car to get to work. The mechanic quoted a price that felt like a king's ransom. I tried to get a small loan, just enough to cover the repair. The bank laughed me out of the building. The only option was a high-interest payday loan, the kind that traps you in a cycle of debt. I took it, knowing it was a bad idea, but feeling like there was no other choice. That loan, meant to fix one problem, created a dozen more. The interest rate was brutal, eating up almost all my extra cash, making it even harder to pay other bills on time. Housing was another nightmare. Finding an apartment wasn't about finding a place I liked, but finding one that would even consider someone with my credit history. Landlords didn't want to take a chance. I ended up in places that weren't ideal, paying more for less, just because they were the only ones willing to overlook the red flags on my credit report. The embarrassment of having to explain why my credit was so low, or worse, just being quietly rejected without explanation, was a constant sting. There were so many concrete instances where the low score hit hard. That time I tried to lease a decent apartment near my job, the one with the nice little park nearby. The application went through, I paid the fee, and then the call came. "Sorry, your credit score doesn't meet our requirements." It wasn't even a human on the other end, just a polite, automated voice. The disappointment was crushing. All the time my old refrigerator decided to die. I walked into an appliance store, saw a reasonably priced one, and tried to apply for their in-store financing. The cashier, a young kid, ran my credit. His face fell. "Sorry, sir, it looks like we can't approve you for financing." He said it quietly, but everyone in line heard. I paid cash, which meant draining my meager savings, leaving me vulnerable again. The emotional cracks formed slowly, insidiously. It wasn't one big mistake, but 1,000 small ones that chipped away at my financial standing. There were the missed minimum payments, just a few days late here and there, thinking it wouldn't matter much. It did. There was the temptation of store credit cards, offering a small discount on a purchase, but adding another line of credit, another payment to track, another opportunity to slip up. I co-signed a loan for a friend once, believing they would pay it back. They didn't. The default hit my credit just as hard as theirs, a brutal lesson in trust and responsibility. These seemingly minor actions compounded over time, creating a heavy financial burden and an even heavier emotional weight. The constant stress, the feeling of being trapped, the silent shame, it all added up, making me feel like I was drowning in a sea of bad decisions. The breaking point wasn't one single event, but rather a slow build-up of those small, soul-crushing rejections and constant anxieties. It was the realization that I was living a half-life, always reacting to financial emergencies instead of planning for anything positive. I remember sitting in my cramped apartment, staring at another loan denial letter, and a quiet anger started to simmer. Not anger at the banks, but at myself. I was tired of feeling helpless. That was the moment I decided things had to change. This wasn't just about money, it was about reclaiming control over my life. My first step was to actually look at my credit report. I had avoided it for years, dreading what I would find. It was worse than I imagined, a mess of late payments, collections, and inquiries. But seeing it all laid out, raw and unfiltered, was also strangely liberating. It was a problem I could finally see, and therefore a problem I could start to fix. I spent hours online, reading everything I could about credit scores, disputing errors, and the impact of different financial actions. It turned out there were entries on my report that weren't even mine, old debts from someone with a similar name, dragging my score down unfairly. I meticulously gathered evidence and disputed every single one. The process was slow and frustrating, but gradually, some of those negative marks started to disappear. Then came the real work, building new, positive credit. I opened a secured credit card, putting down a small deposit that became my credit limit. It felt like a step backward, using my own money to get a credit card, but it was a crucial step forward. I used it for small, everyday purchases, groceries, gas, and paid the balance in full every single month, often days before the due date. I set up automatic payments for all my bills, ensuring I would never miss another minimum payment again. Watching that credit score slowly tick upward, even by just a few points at a time, was incredibly motivating. It was like watching a plant grow, slow but steady and full of promise. Months turned into a year, then two. The secured card eventually graduated to an unsecured one with a higher limit. My credit score, once a dismal 500, steadily climbed past 600, then 700. When it finally crossed the 750 mark, it wasn't a sudden burst of fireworks. It was a quiet, profound sense of accomplishment. The ultimate test came when I needed a new, reliable car. I walked into the dealership, applied for a loan, and this time there was no hesitation, no awkward pauses, no polite rejections. I was approved at a fair interest rate for the car I needed. It wasn't a luxury vehicle, but it was reliable, safe, and most importantly, affordable. This journey wasn't about becoming rich overnight. It was about gaining financial control, reducing the constant stress that had been a shadow over my life for years. It was about having options, about being able to make long-term plans without fear. The freedom from constant financial anxiety was the real reward. I could sleep better knowing that a flat tire or a broken appliance wouldn't send me spiraling into debt. My credit score went from being a source of shame to a tool that empowered me. It gave me peace of mind, allowing me to focus on other aspects of my life. Your credit score is not a judgment, it's a journey, and yours starts now.